Boro come from behind to maul the Tigers in a 6-minute rout to win 3-1 and seal a place in the playoffs.
As the Uruguayan curls one in. Oh, Middlesbrough take the lead!
What is up, guys? Matthew here. Welcome back to another episode of Project Boro. Today, I'm going to be discussing Boro's 3-1 win over Hull City at the Riverside on Wednesday evening. A 3-1 win which sealed Boro's playoff spot. It took a while. I think the thoughts among most fans for Wednesday night after the game was that we weren't quite there. I mean, we were there, but mathematically, there was still a mad possibility that teams could still catch us. And all the media outlets, the club said nothing. Luton announced that they'd got playoffs, and we thought, we're going to have to wait a couple of days. One more point, we'll do it. And then it took a couple of hours, I think. Someone must have worked it out from somewhere. And the club then did announce the day after that Boro had, in fact, sealed the playoff place due to some crazy permutations, which I'll get onto because I've not even really wrapped my head around it either. But Boro have done it. They did win 3-1 at home to Hull in a game which was very tough in the first half, especially. Now, both sides had plenty of chances in the first half. We had a chance here to hit the post. Cameron Archer shot just wide. Force also brought a good save out of Kyle Darlow in the Hull City goal. But at the other end, they forced saves out of Stefan as well. They had a couple of really good chances. Can't remember which one of their players it was who had a really, really good chance. Pelkas it was. Lovely 1-2 on the edge of the Boro area. And, he somehow put the ball wide. I mean, I just had to slide it into either corner, and it would have been 1-0 Hull. So both teams had chances in the first half, but undoubtedly Hull City were the better team in the first half. And it was really strange to watch, really. I sort of was watching Hull, and I was seeing a lot of Boro in what Hull were doing. They were starving us of the ball, playing really good, neat football, really good possession football. They were really slick going forward as well. And for a team who, one of only 3 teams, I think, as it stands, who are actually guaranteed to be in the Championship next season, given this crazy league, they are literally mid-table mediocrity and have nothing to play for. And credit to them. First half, Hull were fantastic. They rang rings around Boro, if I'm brutally honest. I was sat there in the stand just in awe of what they were doing. It wasn't just that Hull were great. Boro weren't great at all. We were very slow, very lacklustre. We just didn't seem quite sharp. We weren't closing them down. We sort of we just seemed content to sit back and allow Hull to pass the ball around, and they did create numerous chances from it, and we just didn't look at it in the first half. So a goal was coming, if I'm brutally honest, and Hull did get that goal on 41 minutes. It actually come from a set piece, which was probably the most disappointing thing. A corner, an in-swinger, I think it was, from the right-hand side, and Syed Manesh with a near-post flick. Very good header. Stefan could have maybe done better with it. I think if Giles had stayed on the line, he may have been able to clear it, but yeah, always disappointing conceding from a set piece. And, my view at half-time was that Hull deserved it. It kind of had been coming. We weren't posing much of a threat. We had sort of moments rather than anything. We weren't dominant for a prolonged 5-10 minute period. It was very much a moment, and then Hull would be back in control again, and we'd have a moment, and then Hull would be in control again. And they very much deserved their lead at half-time. And it was a bit of a shock to see Boro 1-0 down and not looking really like scoring. For the highest scorers in the league. Can't believe I'm saying that still about Boro. But Michael Carrick has never had a game at the Riverside in charge of Boro where we've not scored yet. So even at half-time, I was sat there thinking Boro will get a goal. we just will. It's what we do. And I was sat in the stand with my friend Johnny, who is the host of the Boro Breakdown podcast, and he said something to me which I kind of agreed with, and that was that all Boro needed to do in that second half was flick the switch. And, we've seen against, we saw it against Norwich, we've seen it against numerous teams. Boro just seemed to have a flurry in game where they just blow teams away in a 5, 10, 15 minute period where we just get quick fire goals, 1, 2, 3, and before you know it, a team who was relatively in the game has been knocked to the floor and they're out for the count. And that's exactly what happened here. And I agreed with what he said to me. If Boro got one, we would win the game. If we equalised, we would go on to win the game. And that exactly is what happened. And it didn't take us too long, 55 minutes. Boro did get their equaliser, come out different side second half. We were on the front foot, we were dominating, we were starving Hull of the ball. They were the ones who couldn't get near us. And you can see by the momentum, compared to the first half, Hull had barely anything in the second half. We didn't give them a sniff. And it come from the right-hand side. And before I get into the goals, I have to just say we had two, again, it's not great, two injury-inflicted changes at half-time. Tommy Smith was one. Don't know the severity of his. They did bring a stretcher out at first, but then he finished the first half anyway and was then subbed off. So I kind of feel like if it was really severe, they would have just took him off straight away, but they let him play the final like 5 minutes of the half. So I feel like it was a precaution for Tommy Smith. Marcus Forss, not too sure. Of course, he had recovered from a dead leg in the previous game to start this one, so fingers crossed they're both okay. But it introduced two names that Boro fans have not seen in the team for a very long time. Two names who were crucial in the Chris Wilder Boro team of last season on that right-hand side. And they were fantastic, both of them last season. Isaiah Jones and Anthony Dijksteel. Now, Isaiah Jones was probably the best attacking player in the Championship last season and has suffered second season syndrome, I'd say, this season, in the sense that he set himself such ridiculous expectations in his breakthrough season. He was never going to live up to that this season, and maybe people expected that of him. Maybe he put too much pressure on himself, but he's not had great form at all this season. He's been a shadow of his former self, which you'd expect with young players. And Boro fans had written him off, said we should have sold him, get rid of him, and he's simply not been a part of any of the plans under Michael Carrick. He has had a kid. Apparently it's been tough for him as he's a very young lad. So you can understand, personal things in life like that have to take priority. And Carrick seems like the sort of manager who would really sort of, listen to that and would take care of that situation and act upon it and wouldn't ignore it and force him to do anything he wouldn't want to do. And, he's been out the team for a while. Maybe it's because he just needed to get his head right. I don't know. But Isaiah Jones come back in here, as did Dijksteel, who is one of my favourite players. He was under the Wilder system. He's a great defender. Fantastic at getting and winning the ball back, and is quite good on the ball himself. So the right-hand side completely changed in the second half. We had two players come on, Dijksteel at right back, Jones at right wing, who hadn't played in months, really. And they both transformed this game. Nothing against Force, nothing against Tommy Smith. They've both been unbelievable and were doing a good enough job in this game, but them injuries kind of were a blessing in disguise, because in bringing Dijksteel and Jones on, and at first I was a bit like, oh God, how is this going to go? These two haven't played in a while. They were absolutely incredible in that second half, and it's just a credit to both of them, that they've been out for so long. They've come back in, they've not sulked, they've not, kicked and screamed or whatever. They've come in, they've waited for their chance, and boy, did they take that chance. And it is just a credit to, I guess, Michael Carrick's man management that he can, he can keep these players, their heads up. He can keep making them feel involved so that when they are called upon, they are ready. And it's a credit to both of the lads' attitudes that they've been able to come in and make this impact. And it come from the right-hand side, first of all. Great play down the right-hand side. Isaiah Jones playing a ball across into Hayden Hackney. First of all, Chuba Akpom holding the ball up. What a through ball to Jones. Great cross from him. Hackney, great first-time effort, deflected into the back of the net. His second goal in 2 home games, playing in a more advanced role as well. Given the injury to Aaron Ramsey, Hackney played further forward. Mowat come in for where Hackney normally plays. And it's great to see Hackney on the score sheet again. He's took to that new position really, really well. And it's just great to see Boro have such strength and depth. At times before in the past, these injuries to key players would cripple us. But we've got so much strength and depth. Alex Mowat started here. We had another injury second half. Paddy McNair went off, but then Johnny Howson slipped into centre-back and was probably even better at centre-back than Paddy was, and Crooks come into midfield and slotted in. We've got so many players who can come in and move around, and we just look no weaker than we had before. It's a blessing to have the squad we do, and Hackney playing in that more advanced role with a great finish to make it 1 each. And then it only took 3 minutes for Boro to take the lead, and this was a different kind of goal and a huge round of applause for Zach Steffen, who, Boro just seemed to Boro fans seem to just have it in for any goalkeeper we have. And we've had a bad record of goalkeepers in recent years. Guzan, Crikey, Bettinelli, Lumley. Goalkeepers that have, gave Boro fans a reason to, I guess, not be quite happy with them. But, Steffen, he's only grown more and more as the season's gone on. He's a crucial part to how we play. And, this shows that not only is he good at distributing the ball, out to his wing backs or whatever, or his full backs, or into midfield. This was a long, straight, it's route 1, down the middle, great ball through to Archer. And I've said this before, for a player of his size, the strength of this kid is ridiculous. He outpaces, outstrengths the defender, much bigger than him, gets around him, and does what Cameron Archer does, and that is finish beautifully. I said it in the last episode, I'll say it again, one of the best finishes we've had at Middlesbrough in years. I'm never in doubt when he is in front of goal. Just a great ball forward, great play from Archer, and a wonderful finish on the end of it. I'm falling in love with Cameron Archer. Don't fall in love with a lone player. I am more than in love with this man. And he's been incredible for us. Absolutely unbelievable in recent weeks. 58th minute, 2-1 up, and then another 3 minutes later, it was 3. And of course, you cannot have a Boro goal-scoring route without the man himself, Chuba Akpom, who broke the record here for the most consecutive goals scored in home fixtures in the Championship. He's now scored in 9 home matches in a row for Boro. 9 consecutive games at home he's scored, which is a new record for the Championship. Brilliant from him, and what a finish as well. He had his back to goal pretty much. Again, down the right, Jones again, second assist of the day. Akpom just turns and he doesn't even look. He just knows where the goal is, just fires it into the bottom corner. And within 6 minutes, Boro had blitzed Hull completely. And to be fair, the half went on. Chuba should have had another 1, maybe 2. We could have ended up winning this game by 4, 5, 6, 7. The second half was seriously, and I mean seriously, impressive from Boro. To have such a poor first half and just flick that switch, and to have almost demolished a very decent side in the second half, was credit to this team. They are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So, all around great performances from Boro. A couple of players, obviously the 3 who went off, had average ratings, but everyone pretty much played their part. They were all absolutely amazing, especially the guys who come on like Dykesdale and Jones. Boro mostly dominated possession-wise. We had 2.5 expected goals, so we near enough hit that. Hull just under 1 expected goals, but 21 shots, 4 big chances. The second half was just an absolute rout from Boro. And a really, really good win for us. And it is a result eventually. It took some time, but it guaranteed that Boro did indeed secure a playoff place. And in and around us, Luton drew in their match. A bit of a surprise, they drew to Reading, especially with Reading having 10 men, but we were third briefly until Luton equalised later on, so we're only a point behind them now. Millwall lost, so they've lost ground on us. The gap to fifth's now 9 points, which is huge for us in terms of having that advantage going into the second leg, being third or fourth. And Blackburn drew as well. They're on a bit of a difficult run as well, and are very much hanging on to a playoff place, with West Brom just behind them after a pretty impressive away win once again from West Brom, albeit it was away to Blackpool. And the chase for the playoffs just remains a little bit ridiculous, to be honest with you. West Brom are the only team fighting for the playoffs who won. It just seems like no one wants this playoff spot. Sunderland had it for a brief moment. They ended up dropping points to Huddersfield. Coventry come back to draw in their game. They were playing Blackburn, it was, so that's who they dropped points to, with a 90th minute winner, 90th minute equaliser by Coventry's goalkeeper, no less. So, you're looking at who we might play, and, third and fourth could quite easily flip. So us and Luton are sort of sat there pretty in the playoffs, just looking down, wondering who the hell we're going to play in the playoffs. And at the minute, it could be anyone from Preston all the way up to Millwall. It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. With 3 games to go for most of these sides, I think Watford are out of it now. It's, the number of teams is getting closer and smaller, but I still have no idea who we're going to play in the playoffs. Millwall look a little bit shaky. Blackburn do as well. I've never been convinced by them. West Brom was my prediction. That's kind of coming true, but I still think there could be another team who breaks in, and it could be Coventry. It could be Sunderland. Norwich and Preston, not sure. So I'm not even going to try and predict. I'm going to stick with West Brom, and maybe Millwall will hang on to fifth, as they've got a really, really easy run in, Millwall, whereas Blackburn's run in is horrible. And West Brom and Sunderland have got teams who they need to play in and around them, and Coventry have got us on the final day. So, who knows where we're going to play and who we're going to go up against in the playoffs. This is the permutations according to Boro's website, so I've not actually read this yet. So it took them over a day, pretty much, to confirm this. But Boro came from behind, of course, and it was a dramatic finale in the match between Blackburn and Coventry. And it was the last-minute goal that Blackburn conceded, which apparently sealed our top 6 spots. So a big thanks to Coventry's goalkeeper. So Coventry's goalkeeper Ben Wilson bundled home a stoppage time equaliser to earn a share of the points at Ewood Park, and thus ensure that Boro have now bettered last season's 7th place finish, which of course we know. So Millwall, Blackburn, and West Brom. So the teams 5th, 6th, and 7th. 6th, 7th, and 8th. 6th, 7th, and 8th. No, they're not. Millwall are 5th. Not sure. Anyway, Millwall, Blackburn, and West Brom currently in, that should probably say 5th, 6th, and 7th. Anyway, in a tightly packed table, can each catch Boro's 74-point tally. However, not all 3 can, as the first 2 have each other to play on the final day, as Blackburn do play Millwall. Boro will have a big say on the final stands at both ends of the division, as well as our fate, blah, 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 blah. So that doesn't really give much away, other than the fact that I guess we can only be caught by 2 teams. So we can't be caught by Millwall, Blackburn, and West Brom. We can only be caught by 2 of them, meaning that even if Millwall, Blackburn, Millwall, West Brom, Blackburn, West Brom, Millwall, West Brom, whoever it may be, only 2 of them can actually catch us. So we'd be guaranteed at least 6th either way. So I think that's the way I'm looking at it. I didn't want to be the person who tried to work that out. I think our goal difference being 30 might have had something to do with it, as well, as that's pretty much an extra point. But of course, there is only 9 points to play for Boro now, and we're 9 points clear of Millwall, so they're not catching us. I think it's these 2 who, of course, have a game in hand. But even then, 10 points Blackburn, West Brom 11 points back. So I'm still confident Boro will finish 3rd or 4th. And talking of 3rd or 4th, Monday night, Boro head to the team just above them in 3rd, Luton Town. Thankfully, I think the pressure will be off for both sides here, both in the playoffs now. This is very much a fight for 3rd, and it's maybe a potential preview for the playoff final. I don't know. These are definitely the 2 teams who are tipped to make it to the playoff final. Should both be favourites in their playoff semi, without a doubt. And I always said if it was to come to the playoffs, Luton would be the one team I'd hate to play in the semis because of the away fixture. And that's what we're going to have here. Luckily, we won't have that. Luton mathematically cannot play us in the playoffs. So it would be the final at Wembley regardless. And I'm glad about that, to be honest with you, because Kenilworth Road is a ground where Boro get absolutely nothing. We lost 3-1 last time. 1-1 before, I think it was, 3-3 before that. Luton are a team we get the better of only at home, really, and it just gives me the jitters a bit, Kenilworth Road. I don't know why, but Boro just never seem to do well there. So, yeah, this one I'm not sure on. Boro's form is getting better. Luton's form is very, very, very good. Albeit they're a better team away from home, this will be a test. Both teams have injuries, but I'm going to go with a draw here. I think it's going to be two very good teams, two very different styles, and I think we'll probably have a score draw. I think it'll either be 1-1 or 2-2, and I'd settle for that because I still feel like we could still beat Luton to third as long as we don't lose the game. So I'm going to go with a draw. I think for Boro, just to stay in touch with Luton, it should be just a must not lose. And then we've got 2 games till the end of the season to see who can finish in third. And you never know, a result here could give a psychological blow over the other when it comes to the playoffs, because we, of course, did beat Luton in the reverse fixture at home after we come back from the World Cup. So that is it for this episode of Project Boro, guys. Big win for Boro, huge game on Monday night. And by then, of course, other teams will have played, and it'll give us both a good idea of where we will be come this result. So fingers crossed we can pick up a result here, and a win would be a bonus in my eyes because they are probably one of the top 3 form sides in the division right now. But that's it for today, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, do hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit the bell too so you never miss an episode. I'll be back after Monday night's game, probably on Tuesday, for the next episode of Project Boro as the end of the season gets ever closer. We're nearly there, and the playoffs are now completely and utterly sealed. So a big thanks for watching, guys. You all take care. Up the Boro. See you guys next time.